This is my presentation on health and safety in the gym environment. Whenever an individual is participating within an exercise session based within a fitness studio, they must consider health and safety in order to prevent injury to themselves and those around them. Furthermore, those who intend to design and then perform exercise programs within such environments must also be considerate of the health and safety risks so that they don't put themselves in danger and they can ensure that the program they have created is as enjoyable and effective as possible. The first aspect I would like to focus on is how an individual can strive to minimise health and safety risks by following a set of basic guidelines that are specifically designed for this purpose. The first one is wearing correct clothing and the correct footwear so as to eliminate the risks of slips or trips in the gym environment. Also, the exercise venue should be thoroughly checked for any hazards prior to starting an exercise session. For example, when entering the fitness studio, the floors should be surveyed to see if there's any water present that may have leaked from the drinks dispenser, as this could cause individuals to slip and injure themselves. All equipment should be checked to see it is in working condition with no visible faults, as this could lead to possible breakages, which in turn may lead to injuries being inflicted on participants. If an individual has designed an exercise program, then they should have to complete a PAR-Q, which is a physical activity readiness questionnaire, before carrying out any physical activity, as this will ensure that they are fit and healthy enough to meet the demands of the program. Each and every fitness studio should be overseen by a number of supervisors or instructors that are suitably qualified, as they are responsible for eliminating any health and safety threats by interacting with the participants as they are performing their exercise sessions. Also, they should have a good relationship with their customers, as gym trainers and supervisors can ensure that they get the best out of their clients by showing them how to correctly perform a variety of exercises, which should in turn eliminate injury and ensure everyone enjoys the experience. Legislation is another key aspect of health and safety within exercise sessions and exercise programs, as it helps to outline concrete guidelines that must be adhered to so as to keep all participants safe. I'm going to look at some of the most commonly regarded legislation, which is the Health and Safety Act, Health and Safety at Work Act of 1974, RIDDOR, which is the Reporting of Injuries, Diseases and Dangerous Occurrences Regulations Act of 2013, and also the Control of Substances Hazardous to Health Act, otherwise known as COSH. So firstly, the Health and Safety at Work Act of 1974 is the fundamental basis for the majority of all other British health and safety legislation, and it focuses on the duties of employers and employees in implementing safety for themselves and the public. So in relation to a gym environment, it means that all participants should be at minimal risk from the basic health and safety risks in the exercise environment, as all employees or employers should have done everything in their power to disseminate risks. So that includes performing risk assessments, checking the environment prior to letting clients work out, and some other basic preliminary checks. Going on to RIDDOR, this must be adhered to within the exercise environment whenever there is an incident that results in injury, disease, or in more extreme circumstances, death. I have outlined a hypothetical example of when RIDDOR might apply in a gym environment. So if somebody was running on a treadmill and they slipped and they fell, injuring themselves, the gym supervisor would have to fill out an incident report in detail so that they could analyse the event and see if it was either an accident or a direct result of faulty equipment. Filling out incident reports such as these is a very important process, and they should always be filed and kept in a safe place so that they can be referred to at a later date if needed, and it helps eliminate accountability and it prevents clients from suing for compensation. COSH must also be adhered to within any exercise environment so as to prevent any incidents that include an individual coming to harm as a direct result of substances that are hazardous to health. An example of how this could be relevant in a gym environment could be a container of cleaning fluid leaks and somehow infiltrates a drinking water dispenser. An individual who is unaware that this incident has occurred then drinks some of the water and is put at great risk from foreign substances that have entered their body. I understand that this is a rather unlikely scenario, but nonetheless it outlines the importance of adhering to COSH within a gym environment. Okay, leading on from this, another important piece of legislation that especially relates to fitness studios is the Exercise and Fitness Code of Ethics, which looks at the correct way to treat all clients whilst also ensuring that they are safe at all times. The code was created by an organisation called the Register of Exercise Professionals, otherwise known as REPS, and it's divided into 4 subsections which include rights, relationships, personal responsibilities, and professional standards. Each section provides some basic guidelines as to how employees within a gym environment should conduct themselves so as to ensure that all participants are given the treatment and consideration they deserve, whilst also ensuring that all participants are given a safe and functional environment to exercise within. Contraindications are factors, symptoms, or conditions that ultimately prevent an individual from participating within exercise or make it unsafe for them to do so. There are a number of common contraindications that are universally recognised, and if these are displayed by an individual, it is likely they will not be able to exercise within a gym environment due to accountability reasons or due to restrictions outlined in legislation. Here are some of the most common contraindications: severe or unstable angina, uncontrolled diabetes, severe respiratory disorders or diseases, and high blood pressure, typically over the 160/100 limit. Contraindications are very important within a gym environment, as it ensures that those who are not suited to exercise in a safe manner are prevented from doing so, which means they can't put themselves at risk as well as the other participants around them. There are ways to identify contraindications for those who wish to exercise in a gym environment prior to them getting started, and one of the most common methods is to complete a PAR-Q, or a Physical Activity Readiness Questionnaire, which I'll now go into more detail about. So PAR-Qs are an effective method of assessing individuals before they are allowed to exercise within the gym environment. By getting them to complete a series of questions related to health and fitness, it will in turn allow for a qualified instructor or medical professional to gain a greater understanding of each and every individual's needs, as well as their mental, physical and social well-being, ultimately helping them to decide if they are capable enough to train within their establishment. Another way of preventing risks is a risk assessment, which is more related to the condition of the gym environment as opposed to the health and well-being of the participants. Risk assessments should be completed on a regular basis so as to thoroughly check the condition of equipment and the overall condition of the workout area, because this will help to prevent injury to any clients that are exercising and maintain a good level of safety and security. Both PAR-Qs and risk assessments are essential, and here is an example that outlines why. If a risk assessment is carried out within a fitness studio on a monthly basis and threats are detected, they can be fixed as soon as possible, which will then disseminate any risks to the clients when they are working out in the gym environment. Furthermore, clients can be notified of the risks to stop them from coming to any harm. PAR-Qs also keep everybody safe because they prevent those who aren't suited to exercising from doing so. Preventing injury to them and potentially those around them, whilst also eliminating accountability for the fitness studio owners. Now I'd like to look at warm-ups. So before starting an intense exercise session, it is essential that a warm-up is performed for a number of reasons. Some here I've listed here. It eliminates muscle stiffness by gradually getting more blood flow to the muscles, which aids in the removal of waste products, and also helps them to stretch out and become more supple so they're prepared for the main exercise session. The muscles actually increase in temperature due to a warm-up, which allows for better utilisation of oxygen as the hemoglobin in the blood releases more oxygen at higher temperatures. The heart rate increases up to a workable rate so that you are able and ready to perform at a more intense level, and when warming up you can start to mentally prepare yourself for the task at hand and get in the right frame of mind to work hard when the time comes. A suitable warm-up should consist of approximately 5 to 10 minutes of cardiovascular exercise at a moderate intensity, followed by a further 5 to 10 minutes of stretching, which could either be dynamic or static stretches. Whatever style you choose, you must make sure to work on the majority of your muscle groups to increase overall flexibility and reduce the risk of injury. This basic guideline for a warm-up incorporates all the essential components, as the initial cardiovascular exercise raises the pulse and gets your heart rate up to a suitable working level for intense exercise, whereas the stretching period helps to activate the muscles so that they are more supple, which will reduce the risk of injury, and also they are more functional, so they are more suited to utilise oxygen in the blood. An example of a suitable warm-up that could be undertaken in a gym environment could be a 5 to 10 workout on any CV machine of choice, so it could be the rowing machine, treadmill, or the stationary bike, and this should be performed at a moderate intensity. After this, it should be followed up by a series of dynamic stretches in a spacious and open area while you are able to move around freely, and you must also ensure that you perform stretches within all the main muscle groups so that the entire body is warmed up and prepared for the intense exercise session that follows. Now going on to cool-downs. Cool-downs are just as important as warm-ups, as they have a number of beneficial effects that help the body to recover after completing an intense bout of exercise. A suitable cool-down should be comprised of 5 to 10 minutes of light cardiovascular exercise, such as jogging or even walking on a treadmill, followed by 5 to 10 minutes of stretches. The light cardio component serves as a way of allowing the body temperature to decrease back to its regular state, and also aids in the removal of waste products such as lactic acid that have built up throughout the duration of the session. Additionally, the stretches serve the important function of allowing the muscles to return to a more relaxed state, as well as allowing them to realign themselves and establish their normal range of motion. An example of a suitable cool-down that could be performed in a gym environment would be a 5 to 10 minute session on the cross trainer, as this is a CV machine that isn't very strenuous, so it is best suited to a cool-down, which would then be followed by a series of static stretches that work the entirety of the body to help the body relax and get into a state where it is best prepared to recover after the intense exercise.